Ave Maria, this is Diane, and you're watching Standing by the Cross. Now, I just finished recording my first ever interview on this channel, and it was with Mr. Michael Abreu. He is a volunteer who goes to Ukraine, carrying with him, essentials and some rosaries and first aid kits and things like that. The first time he ever went to Ukraine, apparently he brought along with him some rosaries that someone donated to him. I think it was it was Marina, a rosary maker who I know, and that's how I got connected to him. So she made some rosaries for him, and apparently the second and third time that he went there, it was then that he realized that there was a demand for these rosaries. Soldiers were asking for them, and even the other volunteers who were working there was asking for more rosaries to be made and sent over. Um, they found great comfort in it. So this is my first ever interview, and I hope that if I came across a little bit silly or my questions were a bit awkward, please forgive me. I hope to do better next time in my future interviews. And as for this effort, the volunteer work that Mr. Michael do, if you're interested to contribute in any way, any shape or anything, like if you want to get in touch with him, please do DM me via my Triumph Rosaries or Standing by the Cross, and I will try to connect you with him. So this is my interview. Thanks for joining us. Today we have Mr. Michael um, joining us for a conversation about his volunteer work in Ukraine. So please welcome him. And so let's start off the conversation with something that's been on my mind ever since, Marina. We've been connected by Marina, yeah? So,
That's right. That's correct.
Marina, if most of her mind, okay, Marina is actually another rosary maker I met in Bournemouth. And Marina was the one who gave me your contact details and spoke a lot about you, and you said really good things. And then she called me to, like, Diane, please contribute. Let's make some rosaries for Michael's work in Ukraine. So as soon as I heard this, the first thing that came to my mind was obviously the war started, I think, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
3 years ago, but I didn't
Three
take
years ago,
rosaries
yeah.
then. Yeah, I didn't take
Yeah.
rosaries then. I just take supplies and medicines.
Yeah. So, when this happened, what was the first thought, or what happened that made you feel like, that made you make you take the decision to go to Ukraine? What was the first thing that happened that made you want to go?
I think I was watching the TV, what was happening. I was just getting up early in the morning and I was watching all these refugees crossing the border into Poland, children, families. It was terrible. They were being bombed and things like that. They've been shot and
Yeah.
left their homes and everything. And I said, I just couldn't sit there in this morning and doing nothing. So I
Yeah.
made a few contacts in Poole. And finally, I found a woman called Ava who runs the cafe here, the cafe at the bus stop. And she had, a room full of supplies. I said, I can take them. So that's what I did. We loaded my van and I got another driver, David Chamberlain, who goes to the same church as me. We used our own money. We paid for their own ferries and we actually got about nearly £3,000 up in
Yeah,
cash
it's
from
amazing.
people within that short time. And then we just drove and we got as far as the Ukrainian Polish border. We were on the Polish side in the refugee camps where we handed all the supplies and the money, the cash. We didn't know where the cash was actually going, but we took a
Mm.
chance because they were desperate and we could see these
Yeah.
people, children, no fathers, no boys, no men there, just mothers in
Mm.
virtually a refugee camp on the border, and they didn't have much.
Yeah,
That's
that
all I
that's
can say.
amazing. That's
Great
amazing
trip.
that you just decided to go, because everyone's heard the news. Everyone saw it on the news, and all the struggle and suffering that they were going through, and all the refugees were coming over to UK and everything. But it's amazing that you just saw that and you decided, you know what, I'm gonna go. Now that makes me curious. So have you been a lifelong Catholic, or are you a convert?
I was a Catholic. I was born a Catholic. My father was a Catholic, and we were born that way. I left a little while, came back again,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been going to church ever since my mother died.
Yeah. It's amazing that you
And
you actually practice the love of Christ, through charity.
I just don't like seeing children and people getting killed
No, that's
and
true.
being
Yeah.
bullied by the Russian, Mr. Putin, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you call him Mr. But going back to the Ukrainian supply drop-offs and things like that, we were driving back on our first trip,
Yeah.
Ava actually phoned us saying, "Well
Yeah.
done, what you've done. I've got another load in her shop." So we said,
Uh-huh.
"All right." We then, after a couple of weeks planning and trying to raise more money,
Yeah.
we had another supply and we took them back to the refugee camps there.
So
Again,
when was your first trip? When was the first
my
trip you
first
made?
trip was March 3 years ago. Would have been March 3, coming up to March, April. I
And then
can't
how
really.
many
I mean,
trips?
how many trips have I done? I've done 3 trips in Poland, and the
Yeah.
other 7, 8 in Ukraine.
Well, so it's been quite a lot.
We've
And
been quite a lot.
yeah. So Marina told me something interesting. Apparently, the last one. When did it? You went in January, wasn't it?
We went in January, just me and my wife,
Yeah.
with
I mean,
Christmas presents
just yeah. Early this
and
month.
medicines and toiletries.
Yeah. So she said something about your wife were questioning why were you going to Ukraine the whole time.
Yeah, the first time we went, I thought that was it, the very
Mm,
first time. But
mm-hmm.
then when we saw what was happening, I accidentally said something to one of the volunteers there. I promise I'll come back. By
Mm-hmm.
saying that, I had to keep my word, and so we come
Yeah.
back. The problem is we keep going back because it's very hard to say no to them. And
Mm-hmm.
I said to my wife, the first Christmas she came, we had a van. I didn't have a driver because Christmas time is very difficult to get drivers to actually go to Ukraine.
Mm,
And I asked her to drive, so she did drive, and she could actually see what's happening. And I
yeah.
said, "Now you know why I keep going back."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I will go back. And she just, again, this Christmas she came again, and she knows she's seen some really bad things in hospitals over there, and she knows what the West is doing, and people like you,
Yeah.
and what they need. It's very difficult to explain why in your heart. And the problem is, I've got so many lovely people and friends, and it's snowballed right now. I've got my son involved from his church in Hertfordshire. We've got 3 or 4 churches here, and we actually go to a cathedral there, and the priest there is head of Caritas, which is the
Mm-hmm.
Catholic Society. And yeah, we do not speak a word of Ukraine, but just by looking at each other, you feel it.
Mm. I understand
You feel
because
the love.
even I was called into this without knowing. I just I don't know how, but I've got a great devotion to Our Lady. And as soon as Marina said about rosaries and how the soldiers, the wounded soldiers, and even the doctors were saying, yeah, the rosary is really helping the soldiers because it's giving them some sort of strength and hope. Can you please tell me like what you've seen in the hospitals
What?
and that?
I've got something here. Now, this was
Wow.
made, and there's a rosary on it. Now, this is a
Yeah.
pack of a first aid. And what they do, the soldiers have first aid put in them, so they carry these with them. But when I
Yeah.
went to a place called Shavonograd, which is not
Yeah.
very far from Sokol, where we go,
Okay.
which is a drop-off point, and it's only about 30 miles inside the border of Ukraine. And we've been taking all our supplies there, but we didn't know where they were going. We had a
Mm-hmm.
rough idea, and then we used to drop stuff off, presents, and people asked for generators. Schools asked for stuff from children. So we gave stuff to the children, give them money. Mainly whatever they asked for, we gave what we had, clothes, especially baby stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And to see just the mothers' faces when you give them that. And there was one time, especially Christmas time, when they have the first time I ever went, one of the mothers looked at me and she just burst out in tears because she had nothing to give her children. And this is what we brought over. It was only a little bit, but it was a lot. And the rosaries, right? When I was in Shavonagran, and Maria she gave me about 500, which you contributed. And we've been giving medallions from Our Lady medallions, and we're taking them anyway, and we're putting them in the presents and the gifts. And no one responded to say anything why we were putting them in there. until I got to Shivonagran, and this is where we was last year. We went upstairs to see how these what the Ukrainians are doing, making stuff out of bits of anything. And I saw this on one of them, and then I saw loads of them, rosaries everywhere, and they all come
Wow.
from Medjugorje, which I've been to twice.
Mm.
So, and these came from Medjugorje, and I was looking at a lot of the vehicles or the soldiers were carrying it, and all they asked for in Ukrainian, but interpreted, they wanted rosaries. Before, they never wanted rosaries because there wasn't a war on. So this gives them hope, and it gave me hope because I've got one on my van. I carry one on my bike, on my wherever I go, and my vehicle has been blessed by Father Chris in St. Joseph's. And every time my vehicle is blessed, I don't break down or nothing happens. When I forget to do it, something happens, you know. And yeah, it's been an incredible journey. It's been incredible things to do. And it's just, I don't know. I can't explain that. I, I, I keep going back until this war finishes. Even if it does finish, I will still go back to help out. But yes, the rosaries and all the gift cards you've given us, they're asking for them.
Yeah,
They're asking for them.
Marina has been actually contributing quite a lot, and I'm currently making, the 33 beats for the Jesus prayer, because I know there's a lot of
Yeah,
Orthodox Ukrainians as well. It's amazing that you would think, in their situation, you would think, like, the basic necessities is what they would ask for, and it is amazing how, in this time, that these people are still being very hopeful. In difficult time, they're still being very hopeful, and they're not blaming God, yet they are seeking out God, and they're looking for Our Lady to give them some sort of strength, to get through this, isn't it?
you're right there. In respect to say that we've been taking medicines, we've been taking stuff they've been asking for. And they never asked for rosaries until we started bringing them. And all of
That's
a sudden now
amazing.
they want rosaries. And I said, I'm going back on the 1st of March of this month coming. No, yeah, first
Yeah,
of
yeah,
March
next
end of
month, yeah.
coming up soon. We got 3 vans going. We're taking a load of supplies. I've got a lot of stuff from Maria, and she's going to give me some more. And this is what I won't say his name, but one of the officers asked me, can you please bring more rosaries? I don't think they, because the amount of soldiers that are out there on the front, this gives them hope. And at Christmas, just gone, me and my wife, every Christmas present that was donated, we put a rosary on the Christmas present for soldiers we didn't know. So when we were driving in Ukraine at Christmas time, we saw a soldier. We just stopped and give him a present with a rosary on it. Didn't know the person, but he's a human being. He's a soldier fighting for his country, and they just took the presents. Again, I didn't supply we supplied some of them. This was another one of our drivers, and we have quite a few drivers now that they're exactly the same as me. Their heart's in the right place, and 3 of them are Catholics anyway. And they went to school in Poole. 2 of the drivers went to school in Poole. I went to school in Bournemouth, to a Catholic school. So 2 drivers of the same feelings, and so they know what a rosary is. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think they all carry deep down. I think they've all got one in their pockets as we're driving anyway, but they don't say nothing. I think sometimes people, you tell your what faith you're on and faith you are, and right now there's so many faiths and they're fighting each other. Religion's bad, but it's good as well, isn't it?
Mm,
That's all I
mm.
can say.
Yeah, no, whatever to help, it's amazing that you're doing this. So apart from rosaries, because I'm gonna link the GoFundMe that I've set up. It's mainly for, because I think I have enough rosaries to make,
Yeah.
to pass on to you, that I'll be, before end of the month I'll send them to you. So whatever money we raise, I'm gonna, probably give them to you, or if you want me to get some first aid kits, I'll buy them and send them, whatever it is that, we will discuss that further. But uh, anything else you'd like to share, to my viewers, that you like to ask
Um,
for?
what I'd like to share is to all my family and every other driver's family and everybody that's donated and helped. And yeah, I think we're doing a good thing. And I think, yes, the rosary, and like I said, if it wasn't for the last 3 or 4 trips before, I didn't know. I just took rosaries and see who wanted them. But now the
Yeah.
soldiers are asking for them. So thank
There
you.
is a
That's all I
demand.
can
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was something little, but it's something big. To
Yeah.
go into war, a soldier going into war with nothing, right, he's got his rifle and he's got something that can kill someone. But to have something close to his heart that he knows that 3 or 4 years ago he probably didn't even know or want. They all want them now. So there's something about Mary, Our Lady, protecting them. If she's definitely protected me on my trips, that's all I can say.
Do you have anything specific that you can that really impacted you, like really impacted you in a way, like, oh, Our Lady is really there for me in this
Um,
moment? Any
yes, there is one,
experiences?
but it brings tears to your eyes. That's all I can say because we've seen some really horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen children. We see. There was one time there was a little boy. He was 4 years of age, and we went to a school, and this school was had the refugees that were coming over. We saw some children. They all had phones, old phones, but there was two young girls, probably 13, 14. And I always remember she come up to me, one of them come up to me and she apologized. She says, I said, why are you apologizing? She says, well, it's very hot and we haven't had a shower for 6 days because we only get a shower once a week because they had no water and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And she said, we have nothing. This is all I have, the clothes we got on. I said, whatever you need, just tell us, we'll get it for you. And then going back to the 4 year old boy, this 4 year old boy, Ukrainian, you could just see his face. He come up to me, he held my hand. He had another guy called Terry, male Terry, because my wife's called Terry as well. But he went up to male Terry and he grabbed his hand. And we were asking why. She said, well, he's lost his father, he's lost all his family, and he just clings on to any male person to give him. And
Mm.
that brought tears to your eyes. So, and that was before the rosaries. So,
Yeah.
and now I say, I don't know that there's so much I can say that is heart, hurts you. And that's why we go
Yeah.
back. I can't say no more. I don't know what to say anymore
No,
other
no,
than
I mean, that's quite devastating. I have two kids myself, and my eldest is 5 year old, so I cannot
yeah,
imagine, him being
yeah.
all by himself.
We see
Yeah, yeah.
millions of
So,
these. We see children growing up. In the last 3 years, we've seen, and my wife and me were one Christmas. We were in the bar at our hotel. We were staying because they do look after us when we're there. They feed
mm-hmm,
us and they give us what they can. But we saw one soldier. He wasn't even a soldier, but he was in his uniform, and he was celebrating that he's going to join the forces and he's going to fight for his country. Then next minute, round the corner, he was crying his eyes out because he didn't want to go. But because he had all his friends there, he had to go. So we see all this. I mean, I wouldn't want my children to go and fight,
yeah.
and I don't think anybody else would. But they are. They're defending their homeland. They're home, looking after their own families and doing the best they can for for these people. I don't know.
No, I think they're
There's
very,
no
very
answer.
brave, very brave. And even Marina recommended me to see two documentaries, one on BBC and the another one. I think I saw it on YouTube. But like you
Yeah,
said,
Hell's Hunters is one.
yeah, they pray. They pray before they go out. Every time they
Yeah,
have to leave the main camp and they go into
yeah.
the what do you call that? The trenches, is it? And they pray together,
Yeah,
and
they're in the
it.
bunkers. They're in there. They're praying and hope it's not them. And at the same time, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of Russians don't want to be there either. It's not their fault.
Mm,
They've
yeah.
been indoctrinated to say that the Ukrainians are bad and vice versa. So I think they need rosaries as well, in a funny sort of way. I
Yeah,
expect they have them as well.
yeah, and it's just sad. It's They are like brothers fighting each other. It
Yeah,
is sad to see, because you're pitted against your brother by, but it's all political. I mean, we don't want to talk
yeah,
politics here, but But I think that whoever is watching this, I really call upon my viewers to really keep these orphans, the Ukrainian orphans, the Ukrainian soldiers, and even the Russian soldiers, keep them in your prayer, and pray that that peace will come, and that their wounds in the wounds in their heart will be healed, because these kind of fights are really bad. My like my husband, he's from Sri Lanka, so he's Tamil. They had
Yeah,
the genocide and all of these things, and you think when the war stops, everything stops. No, the pain goes on. There's generational trauma that comes from this, and a lot of hurt that will take a long time to heal within the family.
yeah,
So I think bringing faith and whatever hope and joy that we can bring as Christians, whatever we can do, is really important. Like, I know I can't go there because I have a family, but I know that in a small way, by making these rosaries, taking my time making these rosary, passing them on to you, and you doing the very brave thing with the other men, going with the vans there. You never know. I mean, it's dangerous where you're going, and going there and just handing them out. It's a true Christian charity that we can perform, and then not just just sitting by or just looking, because we get so desensitized, isn't it, by watching the news. Like, oh,
yeah.
there's a war here, there's a war there, and we think like we're safe. You never know how things can turn around. So you are right. Like, as Christians, not forget, even if you're not a Christian, just plain old humanity. you know
Well, you just said it, because everybody that's donated, whether they're Christians or not, and a lot of
yeah.
people are not Christians, but they've still donated, so their hearts are in the right place as well. And I've got to say one thing about the drivers. We've got a nice group of guys. They all go out their way. They all help, and it takes a lot to load a van up. Your inventory. It takes 3 or 4 weeks to load one van up. The paperwork has to go into Ukraine, come back to the borders, and we
Mm-hmm.
struggle. And the first time, there used to be queues and queues. It used to take 6, 7 hours to get across the border. And
I
you
see.
might get there in the afternoon, but you don't actually go through till dark, and it's nighttime. And right now, Ukraine, it has been, and is a curfew going.
Oh,
So
I see. Okay.
there's a
Okay.
curfew. Even so, think of London when the lights go out at 7 o'clock. Restaurants shut, bars shut. You're not on the road. Nothing's on the road.
I see.
So that's London. So Kyiv is like that. And all the time the sirens are going off,
I
and no
see.
one knows when the missile's going to come. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why even the civilian population need rosaries as well. So I don't know what to
Yeah.
say anymore in respect to say, thank you for all this. Let me speak
No,
my
no.
mind and what's happening. And if it wasn't for you, I didn't know the soldiers wanted them. So, uh,
No,
Our
no,
Lady
not
up
me,
there
not
is
me.
looking
Seriously,
after them.
it is Marina. Marina's the one, and
Yeah,
she sent out the first batch, and I'm making the second batch, and
thank
she
you.
sent me the beautiful Our Lady of Shestahova, a
Yeah,
beautiful, and then Our Lady of Perpetual Help. They blessed it, and then they
yeah,
pass it on to you, and it came all the way from Ukraine to me in Marina, and it was really touching. It's just this small gratitude that they show. It really touched my heart, and I feel like I need to go all out. And my channel is very small, but I know there's a lot of people who watch this and who would like to contribute. So how can anyone else, like, if there's someone out there want to contribute something, what they can contribute and
whatever
how
you
they
can
can
do,
contact you?
make more rosaries, because one rosary to one soldier is something. And
Mm-hmm.
if the soldier dies, he takes it with him, doesn't he? It goes in the
Yeah.
coffin.
Yeah.
I know it's horrible to say. It goes. He's
Yeah.
got something there. Yeah.
Anything else?
No. I mean, we could ask for money, but we are getting enough just to,
Okay.
we don't need the
Okay.
money. We get money from people that are donating, whether they're Christians or not. They're all Christians
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. To
All
love your
right.
neighbor is to be Christian anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Christ said to love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
You're
It's
Christian.
because
Yeah.
we're volunteers. We're not a charity, so we don't
Yes.
want that amount. We don't want loads
Yeah.
of money. We just want enough to cover each trip.
Yeah.
You
Yep. Yep.
understand?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. Yeah. So whatever I get, I'll pass them on to you. And thank you so much,
Thank
Michael,
you.
for making the time. I'm sorry I was late today, actually, but I really appreciate that you took some time out of your day today to explain yourselves and explain your mission, and just that little snippet of what you told about the soldiers and the orphans. I think should be enough for people to get a little hint of what is happening in Ukraine and what you and your friends are doing. And if and if any of them want to contribute, maybe they can contact me. To be honest, the GoFundMe is just up to 450. But other than that, if people want to contribute, it's better to contribute in physical things so that it's less headache compared to dealing with money. But we really want everyone's prayers. I'll be praying for you, Michael, you and your friends, and
Thank you
I
very
will.
much.
Our
Thank
prayers
you.
will be with you. Yeah.
And now rugby's on. England's taken on, so that's another thing.
Uh,
I'm praying for
uh,
England to win.
I'll
All right.
pray for you. I'll pray for England to win as well. So thank you very much. God bless
Thank you
you.
very much, and
Thank
goodbye.
you.
All
Bye
right.
bye. Ave
Take
Maria.
it
That was our
easy.
conversation. Any further information is in the description. So please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Until next time. Bye bye.